Greetings! I'm Stephen,
I'm Robert.
and we are the Cape Town chapter of G.I. Joburg, aka the fun-loving bunch who like to go on location and play with their toys. Today we're going to talk about the Air Commandos, and one in particular, Sky Creeper. Rob, if you please.
Sky Creeper. This guy is absolutely fantastic. There he is. He's quite a small man. Well, his average height, I suppose, for G.I. Joes.
And he shows very authentic signs of play wear. This is a flying action toy, of course, so there is a nice chip on his helmet right there, which is always encouraging. I'm glad that this toy has seen some action.
Played with it makes you more likely to want to actually play with it.
And it's certainly going to see some action today. But looking at the helmet, he kind of has a speed cyclist, velodrome type, or I suppose speed skater or luge.
Yeah, he's very ready for extreme sports, which is appropriate. I mean, considering he flies a glider.
And
he
has the sensibilities of long sleeves, unlike some of his G.I. Joe counterparts who have either short sleeves or no sleeves. And he's got head protection, whereas Spirit, for instance, just comes with a headband, and Skymate comes with a trucker cap with a kangaroo on it, in pink.
He's got eye protection, at least.
He comes with a pistol across his chest, non-removable, of course. This is classic G.I. Joe. Looks like perhaps a Colt 45.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. And a slew of pouches. But he's looking kind of minimal, in spite of the puffiness. He doesn't have a lot of other bits and bobs, either sculpted knives or nunchucks or bombs or anything, which fits his modus operandi as a thief. He wants to stay lightweight so he can carry a lot of loot.
And the colouring of the figure isn't too bad for a 90s figure. I mean, the green is a bit, I don't know, a bit much, but it kind of all works together.
Gives it a bit of pop. And the 90s was all about pop. And the kind of colour schemes that you see in the 90s are becoming fashionable once again. But the last thing I want to say about this action figure is that he did come with one accessory, a weapon, which, is it a machine gun? Is it a pistol? It's rather oversized.
That's that's almost as like long as his legs.
But if you take a look at it in close-up, it's got quite a distinctive look. Now, Hasbro were plumbing the depths in terms of weapon designs. They were straying far away from real-world guns, in a sense, and whipping up more fantastical kinds of firearms that look plausible enough to look like a realistic firearm, but not based on any real-world equivalent. This, however, does both. It is based on a real-world equivalent and an extremely famous fictional gun. I said that Sky Creeper was perhaps a little bit lightly armed. Well, friends, he possesses a fusion cannon that draws interdimensional energy from a collapsing star, because this gun is none other than, drumroll please, Megatron.
That's impressive.
And the design aspects, shared design aspects, are marked. You've got the scope, you've got the barrel extension with the same ridging fore and back. The pistol grip has ridging as well.
Yep.
In the same orientation. And yes, it even has the grips along the back.
Huh. That's impressive. Well, I mean, obviously the only difference, but because of it being for a figurine, is the trigger guard.
But come on, it's Megatron, right? Right?
Yeah, you're making a very compelling case here.
We spoke about the 90s having those bawdy, brash colouring, and the glider is following suit because...
It's very much 90s. Look at that. Look at this thing. It's impressive.
It possesses not one, not two, not three, but 4 different neon colorings. I mean, these colors are coming back into fashion with films like Suicide Squad. It's dead sexy, and I think, for my money, it is the finest deco of the Air Commander decos. And they were all pretty striking and all pretty unique, but this one, for me, is the most exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely pops. And the coolest thing is that these things are really practical, too.
Absolutely. They are designed to be an action toy. They're designed to fly. Now, if you compare it to previous attempts of the G.I. Joe line to have a gliding toy, we had the gliders back in '83, which were basically those foam boards which were hellishly fragile, and also were essentially flat plates. They didn't possess true aerodynamic qualities. This might just be one sheet of plastic sheeting, similar to what you'd find the fins of darts, throwing darts being made out of, but it is folded in the most ingenious way. And I always wondered about the reason for this exact configuration when I was a child, because it doesn't match what gliders look like in actual fact. But as a toy, as a flying toy, it makes spectacular sense and is hell of a economical. Because what you've basically done in folding it like this from a flat sheet and folding these two sides in is creating an airfoil, a rounded airfoil shape, which creates the necessary pressure differential to give this thing lift. It's ingenious. The fact that it is literally one piece of plastic sheeting with a spine to give it a dart-like appearance, and an opportunity to clip a figure into. Hey, it's a G.I. Joe toy. You've got to be able to put a figure in there. The one knock I'd say it has against it in terms of design is these weapon systems up front. I mean, it's got a perfectly robust point, but then you go and attach these rather frail guns, and every time this thing takes a nosedive, these guys are in danger of snapping clean off.
I think you have an example of what it looks like when these things break off.
Oh yeah. My childhood Air Commandos was Sky Mate, and yes, as you can see, all four of those little gun barrels were snapped clean off. But I had Sky Mate, friend of mine had Sky Creeper, and these guys would face off in the skies. Now, I wasn't a very outdoorsy kind of kid. My friend was A-team rugby. I was like a violin player. He was off playing rugby, I was off playing the violin, and he was the one who compelled me to take toys out to the park, get outside of the home environment and play with your toys in the wild, so to speak. We'd climb to the top of the slide or jungle gym and throw our Air Commandos off and see who could get the best distance. He always won because, as I say, he was the more sporty kid and the more robust kid. But I'm now a man, and I can throw things, and I will. We're going to demonstrate how these bad boys perform in the air. Oh yes. So we are on location, and you know G.I. Joburg loves being on location with our Sky Creeper and his glider. We're going to put it to the test. This is the moment you've all been waiting for. The packaging touts that these things can fly up to 40 feet. Now, for us metric boys, that's 12 meters, just over. So let's pace that out. You can count with me. 1, 2, 4. Here we go! So there's about a 5 to 10 knot headwind coming onshore today, and you might say, well, if you threw with the wind in a tailwind kind of fashion, then we're probably cheating on the distance. Well, let's try it with the headwind this time. Now that we know this thing can make range, here are some dramatic slow-mo shots.
Awesome, so we also got Sky Mate here. I'm pretty good at this too. Just watch. go. Awesome.
At least he blends in with the ground, so he can never see his embarrassment.
Why we let Steven do the throwing?
Fun, huh?
Oh, it's the best kind of fun.
Come on, nail me. Hey! That's bloody good.
I don't know what I did different. Okay. Yes!
You got those barrel rolls down, bro.
I'm so good at those barrel rolls. He keeps falling out. Look at him.
You know, he's Australian SAS, man. He's just using the glider to get into position.
Nah.
And then when he's on the ground, he does some dangerous maneuvers.
It's cool though. I mean, that the gliders that they, yeah, the figure will fall out eventually, but I mean, they actually do provide for it to fit in. You know, he's got his little foot pegs. He's got his little hands. He's holding on. For dear life.
He's got a broken weapon attachment point on his chest, because that was a real bright idea, Hasbro.
That was real smart. Why did they do that? Bunch of morons. Okay. Again. It's gonna work this time. Nope.
So SkyMate is Australian SAS, which is Special Air Service. These guys are good at amphibious warfare too. Let's do a water landing, shall we? Would you look at that? He even disconnected from his glider. Good boy. He's gonna make an amphibious insertion. Like super speed. But what's this? A Cobra hydro sled patrolling the coast? That'll make life difficult for SkyMate. And the giant who possesses this shadow. Call in Sky Creeper and his ability to harness a miniature black hole. And just in case you were wondering how taking the figure out of the glider will affect flight, here goes. As you can see, it's a total bust. You need the weight of the figure to keep your glider level. So here we are in the backyard. We're going to try fly these guys without any kind of wind situation. No tailwind, no headwind, no crosswind. See how they perform.
So, as you can see, these things really do fly. Depending on the person who's throwing it, they fly better. But they're fantastic. I mean, it definitely makes you feel like a kid again throwing these around.
It works with a tailwind, pushing it along. It works into a headwind, which just kind of drags it up very authentically, as a glider would do if it was catching a thermal. It just sweeps it up into the stratosphere, really. Not really the stratosphere, but you get what I mean. And we saw what happens when you remove the figure. And we also checked it out in the backyard without any prevailing winds. And they definitely do cover 40 feet or 12 to 15 meters, depending on your throw. So they do exactly what it says on the tin, and they're a hell of a lot of fun as well. So I'm grateful I got me a Sky Creeper and a Sky Mate.
And a Sky Mate. Yeah.
A mate to play in the sky.
Two little guys, ready. Cobra should win. I mean, this is the cool one.
It is indeed. Thanks for watching, guys. We are trying new things all the time, but it's all G.I. Joe and it's all love. So thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. And this is Steve, and
This is Robert. Yeah. Join us again next time for awesome videos.
Yo Joe.
Yo Joe.